This is my 1974 Datsun 260Z, my faithful daily driver for the past 2 years, and I put my heart and soul into restoring it, making it run and drive as you can see here. And look, only 47,000 miles. Just kidding, I think it's rolled over twice, maybe 3 times. Not too sure on the history of it. This past summer, I noticed a loss of power, a valve train ticking noise, low vacuum manifold pressure, low cylinder pressure as well, and leaking oil. All these factors play into why I'm rebuilding this L26. My intentions for this project isn't performance oriented, but a basic but also cost-efficient rebuild, along with a few basic modifications as well. This is my first engine rebuild project, so don't look to this video as a guide, but more as entertainment watching an amateur attempting to get his oomph back into his Z. With the block disassembled, I start removing the casting flash on the interior block surface. There's no real reason that I have to do this for this project other than I saw somebody else do it online and thought it'd be cool to do it myself. In a way, I can kind of call this performance because the oil is able to slick down the walls better and back into the oil pan. Initially, I didn't want to have to deal with the machine shop, but then I realized I wanted to have the extra insurance that my new bearings I installed wouldn't be destroyed by the sludge, crud, as well as the bits of metal left over from moving the casting flash. Along with the engine being cleaned in a bake and blast process, I realized that my cylinder head was warped, which explains the massive oil leak down the side of the engine coming from the head gasket. I took this opportunity to increase the compression ratio of my engine, so I had the cylinder head resurfaced 25 thousandths. Along with the head shave, I unshrouded my valves and cleaned up the casting flash in the intake and exhaust runners. I wouldn't call myself an expert in porting, but this is my first time and I thought that I could do better than the stock casting that Datsun did. My goal was to remove the bits of metal around the valve guide in an attempt to help flow. I definitely wouldn't say I did a great job doing this, but cleaning up the bolt transition looks a lot better than the stock casting, which I'm happy about. Don't look to this as a guide to how to do this yourself, but look at the resources online and the internet and probably pay to have somebody else do it. In the combustion chamber, I unshrouded the valves and cleaned up some of the sharp edges, trying to reduce the chance of detonation. I made sure to balance the volume between each combustion chamber within 0.5 millimeters of each other. The head shave should reduce the volume after that point, but it'll end up being around the stock volume. After lapping the valves, removing the cam towers, and adjustment nuts, I sent it off to the machine shop to be decked and be jet washed, just like the block. The rocker arms on this build were actually pretty warm. I was surprised. But with a little bit of elbow grease and some sandpaper, I was able to clean each up. They look nice and shiny now, just like new. This is exciting, guys. Look what I just picked up. Oh yeah, it looks beautiful, fresh from the machine shop. Look at that mirror finish. Some new valve seals and some shims because I decked it. I needed to make sure to maintain the correct valve geometry so that the cam and valves function correctly. Now begins the process of putting everything back together, which is exciting. New parts like valve springs, sure that this engine is going to run really well for the next 100, 200,000 miles. Even though I used cam tower shims, I wanted to make sure that my valve train geometry was correct. This is done by testing the rocker arm in place with some machinist die. The correct white pattern is right dead center of the rocker arm. And as you can see here, bingo, we got it. Let's continue on with this build. And just like that, we've got one almost brand new E88 cylinder head. Now let's move to the block. The casting looks brand new, like it's from the factory, and just needs a little bit of paint to finish it off. I now have to hone each cylinder for 30 to 90 seconds with lightweight motor oil. This provides the cross-hatching that the piston rings need to maintain oil. The rod bearings, main bearings, and piston rings are all brand new, as well as with upgraded 9mm rod bolts. I torqued everything to spec, and the short block is now complete. Look at that. One L26 engine, almost done. I kept the stock cam, but replaced the timing gear and chain. One notable upgrade to the oiling system of this engine is a KA28 oil pump. This is the high volume model used in the 280ZX turbo model. This will ensure that I'm going to have high pressure oil for the remainder of this engine's life. I won't have to worry about low oil pressure for my highway trips and road trips I plan to take over the summer. Along with this, I replaced my old clutch that was slipping with a brand new unit. It was at this point in the process that I got kind of lazy recording. I became so excited to drive this thing that I would just work on it, forget to press the record button, and get lost in my day and work. But as a benefit, you get to see it drive quicker.